quiet suburban neighborhood, Officer Jake Thompson stumbled upon a heart-wrenching scene. A German shepherd and her 3 tiny puppies abandoned in the woods, desperate for help. Their plight ignited a fire within him, compelling him to take action and change their fate. Jake's journey to rescue Luna and her pups would not only transform their lives, but also inspire a community to embrace compassion and responsibility toward animals in need. Join us on this incredible journey. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pawprints Forever. Like this video to spread the love and share it with your friends to help us raise awareness for animals in need. Together we can make a difference, one paw print at a time. Now, settle in, because what you're about to hear will stay with you forever. In a quiet suburban neighborhood in the heart of the Midwest, Officer Jake Thompson was known for his unwavering dedication to his job and the community he served. With a kind heart and a strong sense of justice, he patrolled the streets with a smile, greeting residents and their pets alike. On a sunny Wednesday afternoon, while on his usual route, he noticed something unusual. As he turned onto Maple Lane, he spotted a German shepherd standing by the side of the road, her dark coat gleaming in the sun, but her eyes were filled with worry. She paced back and forth, glancing anxiously at the nearby woods. Jake slowed his patrol car and rolled down the window, his curiosity piqued. "Hey there, girl. What's got you all worked up?" he called out, his voice friendly and soothing. The dog stopped in her tracks, her ears perked up. She seemed to understand that he was there to help. With a whimper, she took a few cautious steps toward him, then turned back to the woods, looking over her shoulder as if urging him to follow. Jake felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Something was wrong. He stepped out of the car, the sound of his boots crunching on the gravel, startling the dog momentarily. "It's okay, girl. Just show me what you need," he said gently, hoping to earn her trust. The German shepherd, who he later learned was named Luna, wagged her tail hesitantly, but continued to look back toward the woods. Jake followed her as she led him deeper into the trees. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the soothing sounds of chirping birds surrounded them. But as they ventured further, the atmosphere shifted. The chirping faded, replaced by an eerie silence. Jake's heart raced as Luna suddenly stopped and let out a series of desperate barks, her body tense as she pointed her snout toward a small clearing ahead. "What is it, girl?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper now, sensing the urgency in her demeanor. As he approached the clearing, his breath caught in his throat at the sight before him. There, nestled in the underbrush, were 3 tiny puppies, no more than a few weeks old. They were shivering, their fur matted with dirt and leaves, and their tiny whimpers echoed in the stillness. But it wasn't just the puppies that caught his attention. Luna stood protectively over them, her eyes wide and pleading as she looked back at Jake. Jake's heart sank. He understood now why Luna had been so frantic. She was a mother, desperate to protect her vulnerable pups. He could see that they were in dire need of help. With no time to waste, he knelt down beside Luna, who nudged one of the puppies closer to him, as if to say, "Please, help them." Okay. I'll help you," Jake promised, feeling a surge of determination. He reached out to gently scoop up the nearest puppy, cradling it in his hands. Luna watched him with an intensity that made him realize just how much trust she was placing in him. As he looked into the puppy's tiny, pleading eyes, he couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by the weight of the situation. He quickly assessed the other 2 puppies, checking to see if they were okay. They all needed warmth, food, and most importantly, safety. Luna, sensing that Jake understood her plight, began to calm down. She gently licked the little puppy in Jake's hands, her maternal instincts shining through. "Let's get you all out of here," Jake said softly, his heart swelling with compassion. He knew he couldn't leave them behind. He carefully gathered each puppy in his arms, cradling them close to his chest. The warmth of their tiny bodies against him ignited a protective urge deep within him. Luna followed closely at his side, her eyes never leaving her pups, a silent vow of loyalty and love shining in her gaze. As they made their way back to the patrol car, Jake's mind raced with thoughts of what to do next. He knew the local animal shelter could help them, but he also felt a deep connection to Luna and her pups already. He couldn't shake the feeling that their journey together had only just begun. Once they reached the car, Jake gently placed the puppies in the back seat, making sure they were comfortable before turning to Luna. "You're going to be okay, I promise," he said, giving her a reassuring pat on the head. Luna responded with a soft whine, her eyes glistening with gratitude. Jake climbed into the driver's seat, his heart full of hope and determination. As he pulled away from the woods, he glanced in the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of Luna snuggling next to her puppies. In that moment, he knew he would do everything in his power to make sure they found a safe and loving home. But little did he know, this was just the beginning of an incredible journey that would change all of their lives forever. As he drove toward the shelter, he could feel the bond forming between them, a connection that would lead to unexpected challenges and heartwarming moments, proving that love knows no bounds, especially when it comes to the bond between a mother and her children. And so the story of Luna, Officer Jake, and the 3 little puppies began, destined to touch the hearts of many. As Officer Jake pulled into the parking lot of the local animal shelter, his heart raced with anticipation. This was a place dedicated to saving lives, and he had high hopes for Luna and her puppies. The shelter, a modest building painted in cheerful yellow, was surrounded by a small garden blooming with flowers, a welcoming sight for any animal in need. Jake carefully lifted each puppy from the back seat, cradling them in his arms as he stepped out of the car. Luna, ever watchful, trotted beside him, her eyes scanning the new environment. The moment they entered the shelter, the scent of clean bedding and the soft sounds of barking and meowing greeted them. "Hey, Officer Thompson, what brings you here today?" called out Sarah, the shelter manager, who had known Jake for years. She rushed over, her smile brightening her face as she noticed the small bundle of puppies in his arms. Oh my gosh, are those puppies?" "Yes, they are," Jake replied, his voice filled with urgency. "This is Luna, their mother. I found them abandoned in the woods, and they need immediate help." Sarah's expression shifted from joy to concern as she knelt down to get a closer look. "Oh, poor things. They look like they could use a good meal and a warm place to sleep. Let's get them checked out." With a nod, Jake followed Sarah to the intake area, where the shelter's veterinary team would assess the puppies. Luna stayed close, her protective instincts flaring as they entered the small examination room. The vet, Dr. Emily, greeted them warmly and immediately began her work. "First, let's make sure they're all healthy," she said, gently examining each puppy. Luna watched closely, her eyes filled with anxiety as the vet checked their weight, temperature, and overall condition. To Jake's relief, all 3 puppies were found to be healthy, but malnourished. "They'll need some good food and care," Dr. Emily explained, "but I believe they'll bounce back quickly. As for Luna, she looks like a wonderful mother. Let's give her some food and water too." Once the puppies were settled in their own little area, with soft bedding, Jake turned to Luna, who was now wagging her tail, sensing that they were safe. He knelt down beside her and stroked her fur, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude for her bravery. "You did great, Luna. You found help for your babies," he said softly. After a few moments of bonding, Sarah returned with bowls of food and water. "Here we go. Let's get these little ones fed," she said enthusiastically, placing the bowls in front of the puppies. They eagerly dove into the food, their tiny tails wagging in delight. Luna watched over them, her maternal instincts shining through as she nudged each puppy with her nose, encouraging them to eat. Jake couldn't help but smile at the sight. It was a heartwarming moment, one that showcased the deep bond between a mother and her children. As the puppies munched away, Jake turned to Sarah. "What happens now? Can we find them a foster home?" Sarah nodded. "We can definitely look for a foster family, but we have to make sure Luna and her puppies are up for adoption together. It's important they stay together, especially after everything they've been through." Jake felt a surge of protectiveness. "I can help with that. I'll spread the word to my friends and see if anyone is interested in adopting them. But I'd like to check on them regularly. They've already stolen my heart. Of course. We love having community support, Sarah said with a smile. And we can post about them on our social media pages. I'm sure we'll find a loving home soon. As the day went on, Jake remained at the shelter, helping where he could. He took turns playing with the puppies, watching as they bounced around, their little bodies full of energy and joy. Luna, now more relaxed, would sometimes join in, her playful spirit shining through. But as evening approached, Jake knew he had to leave. I'll be back tomorrow to check on you all, he promised, giving Luna a gentle pat. She looked up at him, her eyes filled with gratitude and an unspoken bond that had formed between them. As he drove home, thoughts of Luna and her puppies filled his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than just a rescue mission. It was the beginning of something profound. He had a newfound appreciation for the resilience of animals and their capacity for love. Jake made a promise to himself that he would do everything in his power to ensure they found a loving home. He thought of his own dog, Max, who had passed away a year ago, and how much he missed the companionship of a pet. Perhaps this was fate. Perhaps Luna and her puppies were meant to be a part of his life. The next day, Jake returned to the shelter, ready to take on the mission of finding a forever home for Luna and her puppies. But little did he know, the journey ahead would test his resolve and lead him to discover a deeper meaning of love, loyalty, and family, one that would change the lives of all involved. The sun rose on the following day, casting a warm golden glow over the animal shelter. Officer Jake Thompson was back, energized by his mission to help Luna and her puppies. As he stepped through the doors, he was greeted by the familiar sounds of barking and meowing, the heartbeat of the shelter. "Good morning, Jake," Sarah called out, a cheery smile lighting up her face. "I am glad to see you again. Luna and the pups are doing well. They're adjusting nicely." Jake's heart warmed at her words. "That's great to hear. I want to do everything I can to help find them a home." "What's the plan?" Sarah led Jake to the area where Luna and her puppies were kept. The moment he entered, Luna perked up, her tail wagging in recognition. The puppies were sprawled across their bedding, dozing peacefully. The sight filled Jake with hope and determination. "I was thinking we could create a social media campaign to raise awareness about them," Sarah suggested. "We can post their pictures, share their story, and highlight the importance of adopting pets. You could even share your experience of finding them." "That sounds perfect," Jake replied, already envisioning how to craft their story. "I'll reach out to my friends and family to spread the word too. The more people who see them, the better." With a plan in place, Jake and Sarah worked together to take photos of Luna and her puppies. They captured candid moments of Luna playing with her pups, the tiny creatures tumbling over one another in their playful antics. Jake couldn't help but laugh, the joy of the moment palpable as he snapped pictures of their innocent curiosity. Once they had a collection of photos, Sarah began drafting the social media posts. As she typed, Jake shared the story of how he found Luna and her puppies, emphasizing their need for a loving home together. He included details about Luna's bravery and love for her pups, which tugged at the heartstrings of anyone who read it. "Let's post it today," Sarah said, her enthusiasm contagious. "I have a good feeling about this." After hitting the publish button, they both took a moment to breathe, hopeful that their efforts would reach someone special. As they waited, Jake took turns playing with Luna and her puppies, his heart swelling with each wag of their tails and every playful bark. Within a few hours, the post began to gain traction. People from the community started sharing it, leaving comments filled with support and kindness. Jake's phone buzzed with notifications as friends began to reach out, expressing interest in helping or wanting to meet Luna and her puppies. "This is amazing," Jake exclaimed, feeling a rush of excitement. "I can't believe how quickly this is taking off." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "People love a good rescue story, especially when it involves a devoted mother like Luna. Let's keep the momentum going." As the day turned into evening, Jake received a direct message from a woman named Emily, who expressed her interest in adopting a dog and was particularly moved by Luna's story. "I'd love to come by and meet her and the puppies," Emily wrote. "I have a large backyard and 2 kids who adore animals. I think they would be perfect for us." Jake felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. "This could be it," he said to Sarah as he read the message aloud. "This could be the forever home they've been waiting for." "Let's set up a meeting," Sarah suggested, her enthusiasm infectious. "We can give Emily some time to interact with Luna and see how they connect. It's important that it feels right for both her and Luna." After coordinating with Emily, they arranged for her to visit the shelter the next day. Jake spent the evening thinking about the meeting, his mind racing with hopes and possibilities. He envisioned Luna and her pups in a loving home, surrounded by laughter and warmth. The thought filled him with a sense of purpose. The following morning, Jake arrived at the shelter early, ensuring everything was ready for Emily's visit. He personally cleaned up the area where Luna and her puppies were kept, making sure it was welcoming and comfortable. As the clock ticked closer to the meeting time, Jake could feel the butterflies in his stomach. Would Emily bond with Luna? Would she be the right fit for the family they so desperately needed? When Emily arrived, she was accompanied by her 2 children, Ava and Ben, who were filled with excitement. "Hi, I'm Emily. These are my kids, Ava and Ben," she greeted, her voice warm and inviting. "Nice to meet you," Jake replied, feeling his anxiety ease just a bit. "Luna and her puppies are waiting for you. I think you're going to love them." As they made their way to the puppy area, Jake could sense the anticipation in the air. Luna raised her head, her ears perking up at the sound of new voices. The puppies, now a bit older, were more boisterous and playful, tumbling around in their bedding. "Look at them!" Ava exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "They're so cute!" As Emily knelt down, Luna cautiously approached, sniffing the air as if gauging this new presence. Jake held his breath, watching closely. Slowly, Luna's demeanor changed. She could sense the kindness in Emily's heart. With a gentle wag of her tail, she leaned in, allowing Emily to stroke her head. The kids squealed in delight, and the atmosphere shifted to one of joy and laughter. Emily's face lit up as she interacted with the puppies, who were now crawling all over her and her children, seeking attention and love. "Can we play with them?" Ben asked, his voice filled with excitement. "Of course," Jake replied, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. He watched as the children giggled and played, the puppies nipping at their shoelaces and rolling around in delight. Luna sat nearby, her eyes shining with contentment as she observed her puppies finding joy. As the minutes turned into an hour, it became clear that a bond was forming. Emily laughed as the puppies tumbled over one another, and Luna seemed to relax in her presence, leaning in for affection. "I think they're perfect for us," Emily finally said, her voice full of emotion. "We have a big backyard, and my kids would love to have a dog to play with. Plus, I can't imagine separating Luna from her puppies. It feels right." Jake felt a mix of happiness and sadness. He knew this was the moment they had all been waiting for, but the thought of saying goodbye to Luna and her puppies tugged at his heartstrings. "It's important that they stay together," he said, his voice steady. "They've been through a lot, and it sounds like you're the perfect family for them." With a smile, Emily nodded. "We'll provide a loving home, I promise. We'll make sure they feel safe and cherished." As they finalized the adoption details, Jake felt a sense of fulfillment wash over him. Luna and her puppies would have a loving home, and his mission had been a success. He watched the family play together, the joy evident on their faces. This was what he had hoped for all along, a second chance for Luna and her pups. As they prepared to leave, Jake knelt beside Luna one last time. "You're going to be okay, girl," he said softly, feeling tears prick at the corners of his eyes. "You've found your family." Luna looked up at him, her eyes filled with gratitude and understanding. He reached out to give her one last gentle pat, and she leaned into him, a silent promise that their bond would never be forgotten. As Emily and her children drove away, Jake stood outside the shelter, watching the car disappear down the road. He felt a bittersweet ache in his heart, knowing that he had helped change their lives forever. And while it was hard to say goodbye, he knew that this was just the beginning of a beautiful journey for Luna and her puppies. As he turned to head back into the shelter, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. There were more animals in need, more stories to be told, and more lives to change. With each rescue, he realized that love and compassion could make a world of difference, one pawprint at a time. The days turned into weeks, and though Jake had bid farewell to Luna and her puppies, their story lingered in his heart. The adoption had been a success. Emily kept him updated through messages and photos, sharing the joy Luna and her pups brought to their family. Each picture showed the dogs playing in the backyard, the children laughing, and Luna's tail wagging happily, a testament to the love she had found. But as Jake settled back into his routine, he found himself reflecting on the experience. The warmth of Luna's trust and the joy of seeing her reunited with her family had ignited a spark within him, a desire to reach out and help more animals in need. Inspired, Jake decided to organize a community event to raise awareness about pet adoption and the importance of animal welfare. He approached Sarah at the shelter with his idea, and she was immediately on board. "That's a fantastic idea, Jake. We could host an adoption fair and offer information on fostering, volunteering, and donating. It would be a great way to engage the community." With a shared vision, they began planning the event, brainstorming activities that would attract people of all ages. They envisioned games for children, opportunities for families to meet adoptable pets, and booths where local businesses could showcase their products and services related to pet care. Jake reached out to local veterinarians, pet shops, and grooming services, all of whom eagerly agreed to participate. As the event day approached, excitement buzzed through the community. Flyers were distributed, social media posts were shared, and word spread quickly. The shelter's adoption stories, including Luna's, became a focal point, drawing attention to the joy and transformation that came with adopting a pet. On the day of the event, the sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the shelter's grounds. Colourful banners fluttered in the gentle breeze, and laughter filled the air as families arrived with their children and pets. Jake felt a surge of energy as he helped set up the booths and activities. "Everything looks amazing," Sarah said, her enthusiasm contagious. "I can already tell it's going to be a great turnout." As people began to gather, Jake took a moment to step back and observe. Children ran around with balloons, petting dogs and cats from the shelter, while parents chatted with each other, sharing their own stories of pet ownership and adoption. He felt a sense of pride in what they had accomplished and how their efforts were bringing the community together. In the shelter's designated area, Jake set up a booth featuring Luna's story, complete with photos of her and her puppies. He wanted to show how love and care could transform lives and encourage others to consider adopting pets in need. As he interacted with visitors, sharing Luna's journey, he could see their hearts being touched by the bond between mother and puppies. An hour into the event, a familiar face approached him. It was Emily, beaming with joy. "Jake, I couldn't miss this. Luna and the pups are thriving," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She held a small photo album filled with pictures of their new life together. Jake's heart warmed. "I'm so glad to see you. How are they doing?" "They're fantastic. The kids adore them, and Luna settled in so well. She even follows us around like a shadow," Emily replied, flipping through the album. "She loves playing fetch in the yard, and the pups are just full of energy." As she shared stories of their adventures, Jake felt a swell of happiness. Luna's journey had led not only to her own happiness, but also to the joy of Emily's family. It was a reminder of the power of compassion and connection. As the day went on, the event continued to gain momentum. Families began to adopt pets, and the shelter staff worked tirelessly to match animals with their forever homes. Jake felt a sense of fulfillment as he watched each new adoption unfold, seeing the smiles on the faces of both the pets and their new families. By the end of the day, the shelter had successfully found homes for several animals, each adoption a testament to the importance of love and companionship. But the true highlight for Jake was witnessing the community coming together, united by a shared passion for animal welfare. As the event wound down, Jake took a moment to reflect on the day. He had started this journey with Luna and her puppies, and now he was part of something much bigger. The ripples of their story had created waves of change, inspiring others to open their hearts and homes to pets in need. "Thank you for organizing this," Sarah said, joining Jake as they surveyed the bustling scene. "You've done a wonderful job. This is just the beginning." Jake smiled, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "I can't wait to do more. We need to keep this momentum going. There are so many animals who need our help." As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden hue over the shelter, Jake realized that his journey was far from over. He had discovered a calling, one that would guide him to become an advocate for animal welfare in his community. The bond he had formed with Luna and her puppies had ignited a passion for change, and he was determined to continue making a difference. With a heart full of hope and the support of his community, Jake knew that together they could create a world where every animal found love, safety, and a forever home. The story of Luna had transformed not just her life, but the lives of countless others, proving that love, compassion, and a little bit of determination could change the world, one pawprint at a time. Weeks passed, and the success of the adoption fair inspired Jake to plan more community events focused on animal welfare. The shelter's reputation grew, and the number of adoptions surged, all thanks to the awareness he had helped create. Jake felt fulfilled, knowing that he was making a tangible difference in the lives of animals and their future families. One Saturday afternoon, while Jake was enjoying a rare day off, he received a message from Emily. "Hey Jake, we're having a little gathering at our house this weekend and we'd love for you to join us. Luna and the pups are doing so well. I think you'd enjoy seeing them again." Jake's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't seen Luna since the adoption fair, and the thought of reuniting with her and her puppies filled him with excitement. "I'd love to come. What time should I be there?" he quickly replied. On the day of the gathering, Jake arrived at Emily's house, greeted by the sounds of laughter and playful barks. The backyard was filled with colorful decorations, and the scent of good food wafted through the air. As he stepped into the yard, he was met with a joyful sight. Luna was frolicking with her puppies, who had grown considerably since he last saw them. "Jake, you made it!" Emily called out, waving him over. She stood with her children, Ava and Ben, who were busy tossing a frisbee for Luna. The sight of the happy family filled Jake with warmth. "Hey everyone," Jake replied, smiling as he watched Luna leap into the air to catch the frisbee, her enthusiasm contagious. The puppies, now more like small dogs, barked excitedly, chasing after her. As Jake joined them, Luna bounded over, her tail wagging furiously. She nuzzled against him, and he knelt down to give her a good scratch behind the ears. "It's so good to see you, girl," he said, his voice filled with affection. The bond they had formed during their time together was still strong, and he cherished this moment. Emily watched with a smile. "She hasn't forgotten you. Every time we talk about the shelter or the adoption fair, she perks up and seems to remember." Jake felt a surge of joy. "I'm so glad to hear that." He took a moment to interact with the puppies, who were now full of energy and personality. Each one had its quirks, and he quickly learned that one of them, a little brown and black pup named Max, was particularly mischievous, always trying to steal the frisbee from Luna. As the afternoon wore on, the gathering turned into a celebration, filled with laughter, games, and delicious food. Jake enjoyed chatting with Emily and her family, sharing stories about their lives since the adoption. He was thrilled to hear about the adventures they had taken with Luna and the pups, from family picnics to trips to the dog park. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the backyard, Emily called everyone together. "I have a little surprise for you all," she announced, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We've been working on something special, and we want to share it with you." Curiosity piqued, Jake watched as Emily led everyone to a small table draped in a colorful cloth. With a flourish, she pulled the cloth away to reveal a beautifully framed photo collage. It featured Luna and her puppies throughout their journey, pictures from the day they were adopted, playing in the yard, and even some candid shots of them snuggling together. Jake's heart melted as he looked at the collage. Each image told a story of love, resilience, and joy. "This is amazing," he exclaimed, touched by the thoughtfulness behind it. "You really captured some beautiful moments." Emily smiled warmly. "We wanted to thank you for everything you've done for Luna and the puppies. You helped bring us together, and we couldn't be more grateful. This is a little reminder of how far they've come." As Jake took in the collage, he felt a rush of emotions. He realized how impactful Luna's story had been, not just for her and her puppies, but for him as well. It had ignited a passion within him, a commitment to animal welfare that he would carry with him for the rest of his life. "Thank you, Emily. This means the world to me," Jake said, his voice sincere. "I'm just glad I could help. Seeing Luna happy and loved is the best reward I could ask for." As the evening continued, the gathering transformed into a celebration of community spirit, love for animals, and shared stories. Jake felt a sense of belonging, surrounded by people who cared deeply for the well-being of animals. It was a reminder that he was part of something bigger, a movement toward compassion and change. After the festivities began to wind down, Emily approached Jake with a thoughtful expression. "You know, we've been talking about fostering more animals from the shelter. We feel like we could make a difference in their lives, just like we did with Luna and her puppies. What do you think?" Jake's heart soared at the idea. "I think that's an incredible plan. Fostering can really help animals transition to their forever homes. You'd be giving them a second chance." "Exactly. We want to provide a safe environment for them and help them find loving families," Emily said, enthusiasm shining in her eyes. "Would you be willing to help us navigate the process? I know you have experience with the shelter." "Absolutely, I'd love to help," Jake replied. "We can work together to spread the word about fostering and find families who are ready to take that step." As they discussed the details, Jake realized that this was just another step in their journey. Luna had led him to a community of caring individuals, and together they could make an even greater impact. He envisioned a future where more animals would find homes, love, and happiness, all thanks to the efforts of those who believed in their worth. The evening ended with hugs and goodbyes, but Jake left with a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that the bond he had formed with Luna and her family would last a lifetime, and together they could continue to create ripples of change in their community. As he drove home, Jake reflected on how one act of kindness, a mother dog's desperate plea for help, had blossomed into a movement that connected people, inspired compassion, and transformed lives. He felt grateful for the journey he had embarked upon and looked forward to the adventures ahead in the world of animal welfare. And so, with each paw print left in the sand, Jake knew he was not just making a difference for animals like Luna. He was also helping to build a community of love and compassion that would last for generations to come. With the excitement of the gathering still fresh in his mind, Jake dove headfirst into the new fostering initiative alongside Emily and her family. They met regularly to brainstorm ideas, plan outreach strategies, and connect with the local community. The goal was clear: to inspire more families to open their homes to animals in need. They started by organizing informational sessions at the shelter, inviting families to learn about fostering and the impact it could have on both the animals and themselves. Jake shared his own experiences, using Luna's story as a powerful example. He highlighted the joy and fulfillment that came from providing a temporary home to animals who needed love and care while they awaited adoption. As word spread, interest in fostering began to grow. Families who had attended the adoption fair were excited to take the next step. Jake felt invigorated by the enthusiasm of the community. He knew that fostering not only helped animals, but also enriched the lives of the families involved. One sunny Saturday morning, they hosted their first fostering workshop at the shelter. A diverse group of families gathered, eager to learn more. The room buzzed with energy as Jake and Sarah shared their insights, explaining the responsibilities and rewards of fostering. Fostering is a beautiful way to make a difference in an animal's life, Jake began, his voice steady and inviting. You're not just providing a roof over their heads. You're giving them a chance to feel loved, to be part of a family, and to learn how to trust again. He showcased heartwarming stories of successful foster placements, including Luna's journey. The audience listened intently, captivated by the idea of transforming the lives of animals in need. After the presentation, families were encouraged to ask questions, and Jake was more than happy to share tips and personal anecdotes. His passion was evident, and it resonated with those present. As the workshop progressed, Jake noticed a young girl named Mia sitting in the front row, her eyes wide with excitement. She raised her hand shyly. Can we really help them find homes? It sounds like magic. Jake smiled warmly. It is a bit like magic. You're helping them become the best versions of themselves, which makes it easier for them to find their forever families. And in the process, you'll create wonderful memories and bonds that will last a lifetime. After the workshop, several families signed up to become foster homes. Mia and her parents were among them, eager to provide a loving environment to a dog in need. Jake felt a surge of hope as he witnessed the community coming together for a cause that meant so much to him. Over the next few weeks, the shelter saw an increase in foster applications, and Jake was overjoyed to see families engaging with the animals. He visited the foster homes frequently, offering support and guidance to those new to the experience. Each visit filled him with pride as he observed the transformation in both the animals and their foster families. One day, Jake received a call from Sarah. We have a special case that I think you should check out. A young Labrador mix just came in, and she's been through a lot. We think she would do well in a foster home. Absolutely, I'm on my way, Jake replied, excitement bubbling within him. He drove to the shelter, eager to meet the new arrival. As he entered the shelter, he was greeted by Sarah, who led him to a quiet room. In the corner, a timid black Labrador mix sat curled up, her big brown eyes filled with uncertainty. Her name is Daisy, Sarah explained gently. She was found abandoned in a park. She's a bit shy, but I think she just needs some love and patience. Jake knelt down, extending his hand slowly. Hey there, sweet girl, he said softly. Daisy lifted her head, observing him with cautious curiosity. After a moment, she took a tentative step forward and sniffed his hand. See? She's already curious, Sarah said, smiling. I think she just needs someone to show her that it's okay to trust again. Jake spent time with Daisy, allowing her to come to him at her own pace. He gently coaxed her with treats, and after several minutes, she took a small step closer. Her tail wagged slightly, and Jake's heart swelled with hope. I think she's going to do great in a foster home, Jake said, looking up at Sarah. I can take her home with me today if that's okay. Absolutely. We'll get her paperwork ready, Sarah replied, her excitement matching his. I have no doubt she'll thrive in a loving environment. After completing the necessary paperwork, Jake carefully placed Daisy in the back seat of his car, her nervousness evident as she looked around. It's okay, Daisy. You're safe now, he reassured her, turning on soft music to create a calming atmosphere during the drive. Once home, Jake introduced Daisy to the space that would be her temporary haven. He had prepared a cozy corner with a comfortable bed, toys, and fresh water. As Daisy explored the surroundings, Jake felt a sense of fulfillment wash over him. He was helping another animal find its way to happiness. The first few days with Daisy were filled with patience and gentle encouragement. She was hesitant to engage at first, often retreating to her bed when she felt overwhelmed. But Jake understood that trust would take time. He took things slow, allowing her to set the pace. He spent hours sitting near her, reading out loud or talking softly, letting her become accustomed to his presence. Slowly but surely, Daisy began to come out of her shell. She would venture closer, accepting treats from his hand and even wagging her tail when he called her name. One evening, as the sun set and cast a warm glow in the living room, Jake sat on the floor with Daisy. He held a toy in his hand, enticing her to play. To his delight, she approached cautiously, her eyes brightening with curiosity. "Come on, Daisy. Let's have some fun," he encouraged, tossing the toy a short distance away. To his surprise, Daisy darted after it, her playful instincts awakening. Jake laughed, feeling a rush of joy as she returned with the toy, her tail wagging enthusiastically. Over the next few weeks, Daisy blossomed in her foster home. The timid pup transformed into a playful, affectionate dog, enjoying her time with Jake and exploring the backyard. He took her for walks, introduced her to neighbors, and even arranged playdates with other dogs. With each passing day, Daisy became more confident, revealing her sweet personality. She loved to cuddle on the couch, her favorite spot next to Jake. The bond they formed was strong, and Jake found himself falling in love with her spirit. As Daisy thrived, Jake began to think about her future. He knew she deserved a loving forever home, just like Luna. With the fostering initiative in full swing, he felt hopeful that Daisy would find her match soon. One afternoon, as they lounged together on the couch, Jake received a message from a couple interested in adopting a dog. They had heard about Daisy through the shelter's fostering program and wanted to meet her. Excitement bubbled up inside him as he arranged for them to come over. When the couple arrived, Jake welcomed them warmly. "This is Daisy," he said, gesturing to the happy dog wagging her tail enthusiastically. "She's been a wonderful foster, and I think you'll adore her." As the couple interacted with Daisy, Jake observed closely, hoping they would connect. Daisy, who had once been timid and shy, now approached them with confidence, accepting their gentle pets and cuddles. The couple's faces lit up as they played with her, and Jake felt a sense of hope swell within him. After an hour of bonding, the couple exchanged glances, clearly smitten by Daisy's charm. "We'd love to adopt her if it feels right for her," the woman said, her voice filled with warmth. Jake smiled, feeling a mix of emotions. "I think she would be very happy with you. It's important that she feels comfortable, though. You can take your time to decide." As they continued to engage with Daisy, it became clear that a beautiful connection was forming. The couple laughed as Daisy chased after a toy, her joyful spirit shining through. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of anticipation, they turned to Jake with hopeful expressions. "We'd like to adopt Daisy. She feels like the perfect fit for our family." A wave of happiness washed over Jake. "That's wonderful. I'm so glad you found each other," he said, his heart swelling. "I'll help you with the adoption process." With the paperwork completed, Jake felt bittersweet as he prepared to say goodbye. He had watched Daisy grow and flourish, and now she was ready to embark on a new adventure. He knew this was what fostering was all about, giving animals a chance to find their forever families. As the couple loaded Daisy into their car, Jake knelt down beside her, feeling a lump in his throat. "You're going to be so happy, Daisy," he whispered, giving her a gentle scratch behind the ears. "You deserve all the love in the world." Daisy looked up at him, her eyes bright and trusting. He could sense that she understood. She had come so far from the timid dog he had first met. As the car drove away, Jake stood in the driveway, watching until they disappeared from view. A mix of joy and sadness washed over him, but he knew that this was the essence of fostering, helping animals find their way home. Feeling a sense of purpose, Jake returned to the shelter, eager to share Daisy's success story. Each adoption fueled his passion for animal welfare and reminded him of the power of love and compassion. With renewed determination, he continued to advocate for animals in need, knowing that every paw print left behind was a testament to the lives they had touched. Together with the community, he would keep creating ripples of change, one dog at a time. The success of Daisy's adoption filled Jake with motivation, and the fostering initiative continued to flourish. Families were eager to open their homes to pets in need, and the shelter saw a remarkable increase in successful adoptions. Each story was a testament to the resilience of animals and the power of community. However, with every success came new challenges. As the shelter became busier, more animals came through its doors, many of them with heartbreaking stories. Jake knew that while they had made progress, there were still so many pets waiting for their chance at a better life. One afternoon, while at the shelter, Jake received a call from Sarah. "We have another urgent case that needs your attention," A group of puppies was found abandoned in a box outside a grocery store. They're only a few weeks old and need immediate care. Jake felt a pang of concern. How are they doing? Are they healthy? They're a bit scared and underweight, but they're being checked out by the vet right now. We need someone to foster them until they're old enough to be adopted, Sarah explained. I'll be right there, Jake replied, determination in his voice. He quickly gathered his things and drove to the shelter, his heart racing at the thought of the vulnerable puppies waiting for him. When he arrived, he was met by Sarah, who led him to the intake area. A small crate sat in the corner, and inside were 5 tiny puppies, huddled together for warmth. Their fur was matted, and they looked up at Jake with wide, pleading eyes. "Oh, you poor little things," Jake said softly, kneeling beside the crate. He could see their ribs showing through their thin fur. They needed love and nourishment, and they needed it fast. "The vet said they'll need a lot of TLC," Sarah explained. "We can provide food and supplies, but they really need a foster home where they can feel safe and cared for. Would you be willing to take them?" Jake nodded without hesitation. "Absolutely. I can set up a space at my house for them. I'll make sure they get everything they need." After gathering supplies, a cozy bed, food, and toys, Jake carefully lifted each puppy from the crate, one by one. They wiggled and whined, but he cradled them gently in his arms, feeling their warmth against his chest. As he drove home, he couldn't help but smile at the thought of helping these little souls. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to give them the love and care they so desperately needed. Once home, Jake set up a designated area in his living room, creating a cozy space for the puppies. He placed a soft blanket in their bed and filled their bowls with food and water. As he placed the puppies into their new area, they began to explore cautiously, sniffing their surroundings and each other. "Welcome home, little ones," Jake said, his heart swelling with affection. "You're safe now." Over the next few days, Jake devoted himself to caring for the puppies. He spent hours monitoring their eating habits, ensuring they were getting enough nutrition. He introduced them to the joys of play, soft toys, gentle tug-of-war, and even a little puppy pool filled with shallow water to help them learn about bath time. As the days passed, he began to notice their personalities emerging. There was a feisty little girl named Bella who always took the lead in playtime, a shy but sweet boy named Charlie who loved to cuddle, and a curious pup named Max who was always getting into mischief. Each puppy brought its unique charm, and Jake found himself falling in love with them, just as he had with Daisy. In the evenings, Jake would sit on the floor surrounded by the puppies as they climbed over him, nipping playfully at his fingers and toes. It was a chaotic yet heartwarming scene that filled his home with laughter and joy. However, caring for 5 puppies was not without its challenges. Jake quickly learned the demands of feeding, cleaning, and socializing them. There were moments when he felt overwhelmed, especially during the nights when the puppies cried for attention. But with every challenge came a rewarding moment, whether it was witnessing their first clumsy steps or hearing their playful barks fill the room. As they settled into a routine, Jake reached out to the community once again, sharing the puppy's journey on social media. He posted pictures of their playful antics, encouraging families to consider fostering or adopting. He highlighted the importance of giving these puppies a loving home, just as he had done with Daisy. Before long, the response was overwhelming. People were captivated by the puppies' adorable faces and their inspiring story. The shelter received inquiries from families eager to meet them, and Jake felt a renewed sense of hope. One afternoon, as he was preparing for another round of playtime, he received a message from a couple named Mark and Lisa. They expressed interest in adopting one of the puppies and wanted to meet them. Jake's heart raced with excitement. "Absolutely, I'd love to introduce you to them," he replied, quickly arranging a time for them to visit. When Mark and Lisa arrived a few days later, Jake welcomed them into his home. The puppies were excited to meet new people, wagging their tails and playfully barking as they bounded around the living room. "Wow, they're so cute," Lisa exclaimed, kneeling down to interact with them. The puppies immediately gravitated toward her, eager for attention. Jake watched as they began to connect, feeling a sense of fulfillment as he observed the couple engaging with each puppy. Bella, the feisty one, seemed to take a particular liking to Lisa, playfully tugging at her shoelaces. After spending some time together, Mark and Lisa turned to Jake with wide smiles. "We'd love to adopt Bella. She has such a fun personality, and we can already see how well she fits with us," Lisa said, her excitement evident. Jake felt a mix of happiness and sadness. He knew that Bella would thrive in a loving home, but the thought of saying goodbye tugged at his heart. "I think she'll be very happy with you," he said, his voice steady. "I'll help you with the adoption process." As the paperwork was completed, Jake knelt down to give Bella one last cuddle. "You're going to have a wonderful life, little girl," he whispered, feeling tears prick at the corners of his eyes. Bella looked up at him, her tail wagging as if she understood. When Mark and Lisa left with Bella, Jake felt a bittersweet ache in his heart. He knew that fostering was about letting go, but it was also about making space for more animals in need. As the weeks continued, Jake successfully fostered the remaining puppies, each finding their forever homes. The joy of seeing them thrive overshadowed the sadness of parting. He became close friends with Mark and Lisa, who often sent him updates and pictures of Bella's adventures. With each puppy adopted, Jake felt a sense of pride in the impact he was making. He was helping to change lives, one pawprint at a time, and he knew that his journey in animal welfare was far from over. In the back of his mind, however, he couldn't shake the feeling that there were still many more animals in need of help. He began to brainstorm ideas for a larger community initiative that could create an even greater impact. With the support of Sarah and the shelter staff, he envisioned a campaign that would not only focus on fostering, but also promote responsible pet ownership, spaying and neutering, and the importance of adoption. As he sat down to write a proposal for the new initiative, Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was determined to build a brighter future for animals in need and inspire others to join the cause. The journey ahead was bound to be filled with challenges, but with each step, he knew he was making a difference, one pawprint, one heart at a time. Fueled by inspiration and determination, Jake began drafting a comprehensive proposal for a new initiative he called the Positive Change Campaign. The goal was to raise awareness about the importance of responsible pet ownership and to promote adoption and fostering as viable options for families considering bringing a pet into their lives. Jake envisioned a multifaceted campaign that would include community workshops, educational materials, and outreach events. He wanted to engage the community in meaningful conversations about animal welfare while empowering them to take action. With the success of the fostering initiative and the support of families like Emily's, he felt confident that they could make a significant impact. Once he had a clear plan, Jake reached out to Sarah at the shelter. They met at a local coffee shop, where he excitedly shared his vision for the campaign. "I want to create a program that not only educates people about the responsibilities of pet ownership, but also highlights the joy and fulfillment that comes with adopting or fostering a pet," he explained, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. Sarah listened attentively, nodding in agreement. "That sounds incredible, Jake. We can definitely partner with local veterinarians, pet shops, and even schools to get the message out. We could host workshops on topics like training, nutrition, and the importance of spaying and neutering." Jake smiled, feeling invigorated by Sarah's support. "Exactly. And we can have success stories showcased at these events like Luna, Daisy, and the puppies. Real-life examples can inspire others to take action." Over the next few weeks, Jake and Sarah worked tirelessly to bring the Positive Change campaign to life. They organized a kickoff event at the shelter, inviting families, local businesses, and community leaders to participate. The day was filled with activities, including pet adoption fairs, educational workshops, and demonstrations on responsible pet ownership. As the date approached, Jake felt a mix of excitement and nerves. He wanted the event to be a success, a true reflection of the community's commitment to animal welfare. He reached out to families who had adopted pets from the shelter, encouraging them to share their stories and experiences. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and many families agreed to participate. On the day of the kickoff event, The shelter was transformed into a vibrant hub of activity. Colorful banners decorated the entrance, and booths were set up to showcase local businesses that supported animal welfare. Families arrived with their pets, creating a lively atmosphere filled with laughter and joy. Jake and Sarah welcomed guests, providing them with information about the campaign and sharing success stories that had emerged from the shelter. As the event progressed, Jake felt a sense of pride as he watched families engage with the activities. Children participated in crafts, creating colorful signs promoting pet adoption, while adults attended workshops on training and care. One particular moment stood out to Jake. A family who had adopted Daisy was present, and they shared their story on stage about how she had transformed their lives. They spoke of the joy she brought to their home, and how fostering had opened their hearts to the importance of helping animals in need. As they spoke, Jake noticed a little girl in the audience, her eyes wide with excitement. She was clutching a stuffed dog, mimicking Daisy's playful spirit. After the family finished sharing, the girl approached Jake, her cheeks flushed with enthusiasm. "Can I help a puppy too?" she asked, her voice filled with hope. "I want to make them happy like Daisy." Jake knelt down to her level, touched by her sincerity. "Absolutely. You can help by spreading the word about fostering and adopting, and when you're ready you can even consider fostering a pet yourself." Her eyes sparkled with determination. "I will. I want to help all the puppies." Jake smiled, feeling a surge of hope. This was precisely what the campaign was all about, empowering the next generation to care for animals and make a difference. As the day continued, Jake felt the energy of the community uplifting him. The Positive Change campaign was not just an initiative, it was a movement. People were excited to learn, to engage, and to make a positive impact on the lives of animals in need. The event concluded with a heartfelt speech from Sarah, who thanked everyone for their participation and support. Together, we can create a world where every animal has a loving home. Let's continue to foster change in our community and advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. Jake felt a swell of pride as he watched the crowd respond with applause. He understood that the campaign would not end with this event. It was just the beginning. The relationships forged today would continue to grow, and the message of compassion and responsibility would spread throughout the community. In the weeks that followed, the Positive Change campaign gained momentum. Workshops were scheduled regularly, and families began to step up to foster animals. The shelter saw an increase in adoptions, and the community was more engaged than ever in animal welfare issues. As Jake continued to advocate for animals, he also started collaborating with local schools to incorporate animal welfare education into their curricula. He wanted to ensure that future generations understood the importance of compassion and responsibility toward pets and animals in need. One day, while visiting a local elementary school to present a program on responsible pet ownership, Jake met a group of enthusiastic students eager to learn. They asked questions about caring for pets, the importance of spaying and neutering, and how they could help animals in their community. Inspired by their curiosity, Jake decided to create a Junior Animal Advocates program. He envisioned a group of kids who would learn about animal welfare, engage in volunteer projects, and even fundraise for the shelter. He wanted to empower them to be the voices for animals, just as he had become. After presenting the idea to the school, Jake was met with enthusiasm from teachers and students alike. They organized a launch event where kids could sign up to become junior animal advocates. As the program took off, Jake watched as young advocates spread the message of kindness and compassion throughout their schools and neighborhoods. One afternoon, while visiting the shelter, Jake received a surprise visit from Emily and her family. They arrived with Bella, who was now a confident and happy dog. Emily beamed as she shared stories of their adventures together and how Bella had become a beloved member of their family. "I wanted to thank you for everything you've done, Jake," Emily said sincerely. "You helped us find Bella, and she's brought so much joy into our lives. We're also getting involved in the Junior Animal Advocates program to help spread the word about adoption and fostering." Jake felt a rush of gratitude. "That's amazing. You're making a real difference, and I'm so proud of you and your family for getting involved." As they talked, Jake realized that the ripple effects of his efforts were far-reaching. The Positive Change campaign was inspiring not just individual families, but entire generations to embrace compassion for animals. He felt a sense of fulfillment knowing that he was part of something much bigger than himself. As the weeks turned into months, the shelter continued to thrive, and the Junior Animal Advocates program gained traction. Kids were actively engaged in fundraising efforts, organizing pet food drives, and volunteering at the shelter. The spirit of community and compassion was palpable, and Jake knew they were creating a lasting impact. One sunny afternoon, as Jake was preparing for another event, he received a call from Sarah. "We have some exciting news. We've been selected to receive a grant to expand our outreach programs. This means we can reach even more families and animals in need." Jake could hardly contain his excitement. "That's incredible. This will allow us to grow the Positive Change campaign and help even more animals find their forever homes." As they celebrated the news, Jake reflected on the journey that had brought him to this moment. From the day he found Luna and her puppies in the woods to the thriving community of advocates he had helped inspire, he felt a profound sense of purpose. He understood that while there would always be challenges in animal welfare, the love and compassion of a community could create powerful change. Together, they were making a difference, one pawprint at a time. With renewed energy and determination, Jake prepared for the next phase of the campaign, ready to embrace the adventures that lay ahead. He knew that with each step forward, they would continue to change lives, uplift spirits, and inspire others to join the cause. The journey was far from over, and he was excited to see where it would lead them next. With the grant secured, Jake and Sarah set their sights on expanding the Positive Change campaign to reach even more families and animals in need. They brainstormed innovative ideas for outreach and community engagement, ensuring that their efforts would leave a lasting impact. One of the first initiatives was to create a series of workshops tailored specifically for families considering pet adoption. They wanted to educate potential pet owners about the responsibilities of caring for an animal, the importance of spaying and neutering, and the joy of fostering. Jake envisioned these workshops as a way to empower families with the knowledge they needed to make informed decisions. In addition to the workshops, Jake and Sarah also wanted to organize community events that would bring people together and promote the joy of pet ownership. They decided to host a Pet Palooza festival in the park, a fun-filled day of activities for families and their pets. The festival would include pet contests, training demonstrations, food trucks, and opportunities to meet adoptable pets from the shelter. As they planned the event, Jake reached out to local businesses for sponsorship and support. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with many local pet shops, veterinarians, and groomers eager to contribute. They offered to set up booths, provide giveaways, and even donate a portion of their sales to the shelter. With the support of the community, the Pet Palooza festival began to take shape. Flyers were distributed throughout the neighborhood, and the excitement was palpable as the date approached. Jake felt a sense of anticipation as he envisioned families coming together to celebrate animals and the love they brought into their lives. On the day of the festival, the park was transformed into a vibrant celebration of pet love. Colorful banners hung from trees, and vendors set up their booths, displaying everything from pet supplies to delicious food. Families arrived with their pets in tow, creating a joyful atmosphere filled with laughter and wagging tails. Jake and Sarah welcomed attendees as they arrived, their hearts swelling with pride at the turnout. The festival kicked off with a parade of pets, showcasing adorable dogs in costumes, cats in carriers, and even a few rabbits hopping along. The crowd cheered, and the energy was infectious. Throughout the day, Jake facilitated workshops and demonstrations, sharing valuable information about pet care and responsible ownership. He spoke about the importance of adopting pets from shelters and highlighted success stories from the Positive Change campaign. Families gathered to listen, eager to learn and engage. As the afternoon sun began to set, Jake noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was Emily, her family, and Bella, who was now a confident and playful dog. They were enjoying the festivities, and Jake couldn't help but feel a surge of happiness at the sight of them. "Jake, this is amazing," Emily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. We're having so much fun, and Bella loves all the attention. Jake smiled, feeling grateful for the connection they had formed. I'm so glad you're here. This festival is about celebrating the bond between pets and their families. It's wonderful to see you all enjoying it. As the day continued, Jake felt a sense of fulfillment wash over him. Families were engaged in meaningful conversations, sharing their experiences and learning from one another. The community was coming together in a way he had always hoped for, united by a love for animals. Toward the end of the festival, Jake invited everyone to gather for a closing ceremony. He stood before the crowd, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. Thank you all for being here today. Your support for the Positive Change campaign means the world to us. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of animals in need. He spoke about the importance of fostering, adopting, and educating others about responsible pet ownership. As he looked out at the smiling faces in the crowd, he felt a surge of hope. This was more than just an event. It was a movement that had the potential to change lives. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the park, families cheered and applauded. Jake felt a sense of accomplishment, knowing that they were all part of something much larger than themselves. In the weeks that followed, the success of the Pet Palooza festival had a ripple effect throughout the community. More families began to reach out to the shelter, expressing their interest in fostering and adopting. The campaign had ignited a passion for animal welfare, and Jake was thrilled to see the positive change taking root. One day, while at the shelter, Jake received a call from Sarah. Jake, we've been invited to speak at a local community meeting about animal welfare and the importance of adoption. This is a great opportunity for us to share the message of our campaign with even more people. Jake's excitement was palpable. That sounds amazing. I'd love to be a part of it. We can share our success stories and encourage more families to get involved. They spent time preparing their presentation, focusing on the impact of the Positive Change campaign and the importance of community support. As the meeting approached, Jake felt a mix of nerves and anticipation. He knew that speaking in front of a larger audience would be a great opportunity to spread their message further. On the day of the community meeting, Jake and Sarah arrived early to set up their presentation. The room was filled with local residents eager to learn more about animal welfare. As they began to speak, Jake felt a sense of purpose wash over him. He shared the journey of Luna, Daisy, and the puppies, emphasizing the importance of fostering and adopting. He talked about the joy that pets bring to families and the responsibility that comes with pet ownership. The audience listened attentively, engaged and inspired by the stories he shared. After their presentation, Jake opened the floor for questions and discussions. Many attendees expressed their interest in getting involved, whether through fostering, volunteering, or simply spreading the word about the shelter's mission. One woman raised her hand, her voice filled with emotion. This is such an important cause. I had no idea how many animals were in need. How can we help? Jake smiled, grateful for the opportunity to engage with the community. There are many ways to help. You can volunteer at the shelter, foster a pet, or even just share our message with your friends and family. Every little bit makes a difference. As the meeting concluded, Jake felt a sense of accomplishment. The Positive Change campaign was gaining momentum, and the community was rallying behind it. He knew that they were on the brink of something truly transformative. As the weeks turned into months, Jake continued to advocate for animal welfare and promote the message of the campaign. He was passionate about educating families, empowering them to make informed decisions about pet ownership. One day, while visiting the shelter, Jake received a call from Emily. Hey Jake, I wanted to let you know that Bella is doing great. We've been thinking about fostering another dog, and we'd love your guidance. Jake's heart swelled with joy. That's fantastic. I'd be happy to help. Fostering is such a rewarding experience, and I know Bella will be a great big sister. As they discussed the process, Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose. He realized that each family that fostered or adopted was contributing to a larger movement, creating a community of compassionate pet owners who were dedicated to making a difference. As the Positive Change campaign continued to grow, Jake felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey he had embarked on. From rescuing Luna and her puppies to inspiring families to foster and adopt, he knew that he was part of something powerful. The road ahead would still be filled with challenges, but with the support of the community and the unwavering love for animals, Jake was ready to face whatever came next. Together they would continue to change lives, one paw print at a time, and as he looked forward to the future, Jake understood that the true measure of success was not just in the number of adoptions or fosters, but in the hearts they touched and the lives they transformed along the way. As the Positive Change campaign continued to expand, Jake found himself reflecting on how far he had come since that fateful day when he discovered Luna and her puppies in the woods. The journey had been filled with challenges, victories, and countless moments of joy. But above all, it had forged a deep connection among community members, pets, and their families. One sunny Saturday morning, Jake organized a special event to celebrate the successes of the campaign and the families who had participated. He called it the Positive Celebration, and it aimed to honor all the families who had fostered, adopted, or volunteered at the shelter. The event was designed to showcase the transformative power of love and compassion for animals. Planning for the celebration involved reaching out to families who had adopted pets, local businesses, and community members who had supported the campaign. Jake wanted to create a day filled with activities, stories, and shared experiences, highlighting the impact they had made together. As the date drew nearer, excitement buzzed through the community. Families began to RSVP, eager to share their stories and celebrate the journey they had taken together. Jake felt a rush of gratitude as he prepared for the event, knowing that it would be an opportunity to reinforce the message of love and compassion for animals. On the day of the Positive Celebration, the shelter was adorned with colorful decorations, and the air was filled with laughter and joy. Families arrived with their adopted pets, each one a testament to the campaign's success. Dogs wagged their tails, cats purred contentedly, and children giggled as they played together in the sun. Jake welcomed everyone with a heartfelt speech, expressing his gratitude for their support and highlighting the importance of the bond between pets and their families. He shared stories of Luna, Daisy, and the puppies, emphasizing how their journeys had inspired so many to open their hearts and homes. As families mingled, Jake encouraged them to share their own stories of fostering and adopting. One by one, they stepped forward, their voices filled with emotion as they recounted their experiences. They spoke of the joy their pets had brought into their lives, the challenges they had faced, and the deep sense of fulfillment that came from giving a second chance to an animal in need. One particular story stood out to Jake. A young boy named Ethan shared how his family had adopted a shy beagle named Ruby. "When we first brought her home, she was scared and didn't trust us," he said. "But with love and patience, she blossomed into the sweetest dog. Now she's part of our family, and we can't imagine life without her." The crowd erupted in applause, and Jake felt a wave of warmth wash over him. These stories were the heart of the campaign, real-life examples of love transforming lives. As the day continued, the festivities included games, pet contests, and even a paw print mural where families could add their pets' paw prints to a large canvas. It was a beautiful representation of the community coming together, each paw print symbolizing a unique journey and a shared commitment to animal welfare. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the shelter, Jake gathered everyone for a final celebration. He announced that the canvas mural would be displayed at the shelter as a permanent reminder of the community's dedication to animals in need. "Today is a celebration of love, connection, and the incredible impact we can make when we come together," Jake said, his voice filled with emotion. "Each one of you has played a vital role in this journey, and together we are creating a legacy of compassion for animals in our community." Cheers erupted from the crowd, and Jake felt a profound sense of purpose. He understood that the work they had done was not just about finding homes for pets. It was about building a community that cared deeply for animals and each other. As the event came to a close, Jake took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought him to this point. He had witnessed the transformation of countless animals and families, and he knew that each paw print left behind was a testament to the lives they had touched. In the days that followed the celebration, the momentum of the Positive Change campaign continued to grow. Families reached out to the shelter, eager to foster or adopt. The Junior Animal Advocates program thrived, with kids actively engaging in fundraising efforts and spreading awareness about responsible pet ownership. One day, while visiting the shelter, Jake received an unexpected call from a local news station. They had heard about the success of the Positive Change campaign and wanted to feature Jake, the shelter, and the community's efforts in a segment highlighting animal welfare initiatives. Jake felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He knew that this was a fantastic opportunity to reach an even broader audience and inspire others to get involved. After confirming the details, he began preparing for the interview, eager to share the message of love and compassion that had driven the campaign. On the day of the interview, the news crew arrived at the shelter, setting up cameras and microphones. Jake felt the familiar flutter of nerves in his stomach, but he reminded himself of the importance of the message he was about to share. As the interview began, Jake spoke passionately about the Positive Change campaign, the importance of fostering and adopting, and the incredible impact of community support. He shared stories of successful adoptions and the joy that pets brought to families, emphasizing that every animal deserved a loving home. The segment aired a few days later, and to Jake's delight, it resonated with viewers. Calls began pouring into the shelter from families interested in fostering and adopting. The campaign was gaining traction, and the community's commitment to animal welfare was stronger than ever. One afternoon, while at the shelter, Jake received a visit from a young girl named Mia, the same girl who had expressed her desire to help a puppy at the Pet Palooza festival. She approached him with a determined look on her face. "Jake, I want to start a fundraiser at my school to help the shelter," she declared, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "I've been talking to my friends, and we want to do a bake sale and a dog wash." Jake felt a swell of pride as he listened to her ideas. "That's fantastic, Mia. I'm so proud of you for wanting to help. We can support you in any way you need." With Jake's encouragement, Mia organized her fundraiser with the help of her friends and family. They baked treats, created colorful posters, and spread the word throughout the school. The event was a success, raising funds that would directly support the shelter's efforts. As Mia presented the donation to the shelter, Jake couldn't help but smile. "This is amazing, Mia. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. You're making a real difference in the lives of animals." Her face lit up with joy. "I just want to help all the puppies and kitties find homes." Jake knew that Mia was just one of many young advocates who were emerging from the campaign. The seeds of compassion were being planted in the hearts of the next generation, and he felt hopeful for the future of animal welfare. As the months rolled on, Jake's commitment to the Positive Change campaign never wavered. He continued to foster animals, advocate for adoptions, and engage with the community. Each day brought new challenges and triumphs, and he embraced them all with open arms. One day, while reflecting on the impact of the campaign, Jake realized that the true legacy of the Positive Change campaign was not just in the number of animals adopted or fostered, but in the community that had come together in support of a shared mission. They had created a culture of kindness and compassion, and he was proud to be a part of it. As he stood in the shelter, surrounded by the sounds of playful barks and contented purrs, Jake felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew that while the journey had been long, it had also been incredibly rewarding. The love and dedication of the community had transformed the lives of countless animals, and together they would continue to make a difference. With a heart full of gratitude and love for the animals he had helped, Jake looked toward the future, ready to embrace whatever challenges and adventures awaited him. He understood that every paw print left behind was a testament to the power of compassion, and he was excited to see how the legacy of love would continue to grow in the hearts of many for years to come. And so, the story of Jake, Luna, and the countless animals they had touched continued, a beautiful tapestry woven with threads of hope, resilience, and the enduring bond between humans and their beloved pets. Together, they would create a world where every animal found love, happiness, and a forever home, one paw print at a time. As Jake stood in the bustling shelter, surrounded by the joyful barks and purrs of animals he had helped, he realized that the Positive Change campaign had become more than just a mission. It was a movement of compassion that had brought a community together. The legacy of love they had built together was just beginning. Will you be part of this journey? With every foster, every adoption, and every shared story, we can create a brighter future for animals everywhere. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pawprints Forever. Like this video to show your support, and share it with your network so we can continue spreading hope and love. Together we can ensure that no animal is left behind. Let's create a world where every paw print tells a story of hope and love.